Well, I'm back out here, and it's just a little bit too light outside to show you what's going on over there because I still have to get a new video camera because the light is too sensitive for this thing, and I'm not going to get it fixed because it's probably going to cost me just as much as buying a new video camera. So I'm going to stay in here for right now. And you've seen some of this before if you've been watching my videos. If you haven't been watching my videos, you can see those other ones by going to my main YouTube channel page, click on playlists, and scroll down to how to build a house. Okay? But enough of that for right now. I'm gonna show you a few things that I didn't show you before. Now see, all of these are trusses here, and when they built this, how do you keep those trusses straight up and down prior to installing the plywood and even after installing the plywood? What is going to make this so that it's not going to sway one way or another in high winds or anything like that? Well, you see here at the end of this wall here, they've got some braces. Do you see the brace up there, that 2x6 brace that goes up like that? And then there's a couple more 2x6s. Those aren't going up at a 45. This one here is going up to a 45 all the way from there on up. And they ran a block. And isn't that something? You know, on all of those 2x6s or those trusses up there, there's no blocks. Usually, I've seen them when they install trusses, they'll take 2x6 or 2x4 up at the top and run blocks in between each one. Now, they didn't do that for here, and I'm not quite sure why they didn't do it, but where that 2x6 is going up at an angle, they've got a block way up there. You see that one? Right up in there. They've done that so that they could then attach this 2x6 up there, and then they put some blocks down here at the bottom, and that is going up at an angle, and they're holding it right there. And with all the other plywood, it's holding all of these up straight. You see that? I'm still scratching my head why they didn't install those blocks up there to begin with. And I don't know if the inspector's gonna buy that. And I'm looking over here at the top of there, and there's no blocks up there. Now, how do you suppose they kept all these trusses straight? We'll see. Once they installed the first one, you see there's a 1x4 nailed along the side, and as they flopped each one up there, once they got the first one plumb, then they measured over, and then they tacked the 1x4 along there, and over here they've got a 2x4, and they've nailed that along there all the way along, if you see that up there, okay? And then they also did it on this other side, and that kind of helped hold these up there straight so that they could then install the plywood up there and nail the plywood. But see, back over to here, they've got 3 2x6s going up at an angle, okay? And that's gonna help hold that in place. And they've done the same thing down at this end. You see those 2x6s? The same type of thing. 3 2x6s going up there. And they decided to run 3 2x6s. A lot of times I'll only see somebody install 1 2x6, depending how somebody's installed the braces. Okay, and like I say, I'll be going out there in a little bit. The sun, you see when I run my video camera out here, look, just that little bit of light. Just that little bit of light messes up my camera. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna be, I have got to order one of those. I'll commit to ordering it within a week here. Okay, and so that way I can run my video camera whenever I want. But let's just keep talking over in here. Remember all those straps that were coming up? See this strap here? that goes down, and it goes way down inside the concrete stem wall, down into the footing down below. And that helps hold all of these walls down to the floor in high winds, earthquakes, whatever. And see, they've got these straps. Look at all of the bolts. Look at that. Look at all those. And then they've got it bolted down there. See how they got that? See the bolt down in there and the nut? And they've got this all screwed off. Here's another one. It looks like they haven't, look at that. They haven't tightened that bolt up yet. And I can turn it with my fingers. See there? They should have really done that before they nailed this next one. They'll have to get a ratchet in there, and obviously they haven't tightened that one up yet. They'll have to get a ratchet in here before they call for framing inspection. Yes, they have not called for a framing inspection yet. I know that for a fact because they're not done with the roof. Just because they're done with the walls doesn't mean they're ready for a framing inspection until they get the roof done. Okay, here's another one. Look, see there? That one's not done. This one's not done here, but they've got it all bolted up here, and that strap is holding that down. This particular bolt goes all the way down through the stem wall. That little bit of concrete from here down is called a stem wall concrete, and they go way down there. They probably got another nut and washer or something to help hold that down into the footing. I don't think they would have just had the threads going down into the concrete. But anyways, they've got those all along. See, there's some more over in here. You see, and they would have there's one. Now see, this threaded rod is thinner in diameter, and they just went off the plans and they followed the plans. Here's a thinner one there. See, these are thinner over here, aren't they? The thickness of the threads over in here, and see, there's a big tall one there, and those threads are fatter. See there? And this one is a smaller one height-wise, and it's smaller threads. And they would just go along on the plans and figure out exactly where they have to have straps. See that big long strap there? Here, they've got to nail it. And every single hole, they have to put a nail. If they don't, the inspector's not going to sign off. Here's some more straps there. Here's some more over there. Now, on these particular walls by the garage, they don't have those other big straps with the bolts. I wonder why. See, this one here they do. See, there, and a couple over there. No straps coming up like they have like that. Why is that? Well, again, all I can say is they followed the plans, and wherever it said they had to have straps instead of the bolts, or bolts instead of the straps, or straps and bolts. See, here's one of those bolt things with the bracket, and here's the straps. And they don't second guess. When you start framing something, and you're the contractor, you're the framing contractor, you just follow the plans. You don't really care at that point. You don't second guess in anybody on where to put straps, where to put bolts, and all that kind of stuff. You just follow the plans. Let me tell you, you've got to follow the plans, or else when the inspector comes out here, when you get all done, they're not going to sign you off. Okay? Very, very important. Follow those plans. All right. Now let's talk about a couple other things. Look at this. This is a plank. Look how long it is. My word. And they would use that maybe running an extension ladder, something like this, or even a taller one, and then they would put that across, boom, kaboom, so that they could stand on it and work on it or whatever. Okay, and I've used a couple of those in the past, and they work really super good. Or on your extension ladder, you might have something that has a hook, and that an angled piece comes out, and then you would put this long scaffold piece on top of that. Okay. Now I think the light is fading a little bit, and let's come out here now. Let's talk about this. Remember a long time ago I kept saying I'm not sure why they have not framed up the walls here and over in here, and I think I have the reason. Do you have the reason? Well, they probably needed that open so that they could come in here and with their big old forklift to bring in this long beam, number one. Okay, and they didn't build that wall because they had a beam going across there. That's why they didn't frame that up, because look how long that glulam beam is from here all the way over there. Do you know why? Have you thought about that yet? They're probably going to have a long sliding glass door system that goes here, and they might also have something where it all accordions back or folds up so that they can slide this whole thing, so that they can have this whole thing open to a deck, let's say. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to do that just yet, and it looks like they're starting to dig. They've dug some holes here, and they're gonna pour some concrete in there so that they can pour some footings or something like that to have a big old post here or something. See, here's another one out here. This is just temporary, right here, holding up their trusses here at this end. They haven't installed these last sections of trusses yet, and they'll probably have a big post here, and they'll probably have another glulam beam coming across here to hold up more trusses, is my guess. Okay, and it's really coming along. Now let's go into this other room. Well, before we do that, I was wondering how they were going to hold this big old huge beam up here, and see this particular 4 by what is it, 6 by 8 is holding the weight of the center of this glulam beam. Let's see, is there a joint? No, there's no joint. That's just the middle of the glulam. And this post, actually, they've cut into the floor, and this probably sets down on top of a concrete stem wall down there, or a footing or something like that to hold the weight up. And I was wondering if they had to do that at the ends too. Now see, the end of this, where this 6 by 6 is, they've just got nailed right down to the floor. And my guess is they've got something underneath the floor that is holding this up, because I don't think the weight of just the glulam or just the TJI floor joists are enough to hold the end of this. I don't really think so. And they don't have any post bracket on there yet. Kind of like, you see this one here, how they've got this? I'm not sure why they didn't have to do that on the end. Maybe it's just something that straps on the outside instead of something that they have in the middle. We go over here at this end, and sure enough, there's nothing here of any gusset, kind of like that big huge one there. I would have thought they would have needed something like that at that end, but we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. See, I thought they might have to use something like this. You see, or maybe an L-shaped deal at the end, slightly different than this one. But see, they would have had to have ordered this exactly how it was shown on the plans, so that they could come up with figuring out how to do this. And see over here, no bracket yet, so maybe that bracket is slightly different than the others. And they probably have something underneath the glulam or underneath this 6x6, because this one looks like it's not cut into the floor like that one, does it? It looks like it's just setting on top of the plywood. And my word, you see this big old huge beam here? Now this beam, this big old Glulam beam is holding up all of the trusses that are coming up. That is very slick how those trusses work. And it's holding the weight. This end of this double little wall here is holding a little bit of the weight. And you go down here, and this 6x6 is holding up some of that weight, as well as the end of that is holding up some of the weight, but not as much, because see, remember, this was a short piece. It's cut right there, so you got all the weight from here going that way on this right here on the plywood, and there's floor joists underneath that, TGI floor joists, and they might have a double or triple one underneath this section, because we know there's one right here, okay, and then we know there's another one over here. Those floor joists were every 16 inches. They wouldn't have, I doubt very seriously they would have just plywood at this section holding up this 6x6, holding up the weight of that entire Glulam beam. I don't think so. Or if there is, they'll have to go down underneath the floor there and put something, which maybe they already have, for all I know. I haven't been underneath the floor, and see where the weight of this whole Glulam beam is right over this header for this door opening that I just walked through. And we look at that, and that's a Glulam beam type header, because it's holding up the weight of that big huge Glulam beam, which is holding up the roof of those trusses. And again, you've got, look at all this. You've got one 2x6 at the end of that, which is the king stud. You've got three what do you call those? It's just 3 trimmers underneath there, and that's holding up more weight than normal. Here's 3 trimmers over here, see? 1, 2, 3 up underneath the Glulam beam header, holding up the roof. You know, is that, maybe they had to do that to hold up the end of this Glulam beam here. Okay, and isn't that something how things are built? And these trusses here were wedged up. A portion of that truss is on top of the Glulam beam, and it's setting on there, and it's kind of notched. It's kind of notched in there. Kind of liking how they did that. And this all marries together on how the roof system was built, how this all has to be built. The framers do not make any decisions on their own. They follow the plans. Let me tell you, you have a question, you look at the plan, you see how the plan is designed. And I was wondering, as for this area over here, why they had to put all those 4x6s in that wall. Remember this wall here, it's got some 4x6s. It's a 2x6 wall. You see? It's a 2x6 wall, but every 4 feet or so, they've got a 4x6. Then there's another 4x6. Then there's another 4x6. Then there's another 4x6. You see on this wall, 4x6 here, 4x6 here. Why on earth would they have had to have done that? All I can think of is it might have made this wall stronger, because on top of that you can see where they installed their first set of trusses. All these trusses at the end of these trusses here, all these trusses here, boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, are all sitting on top of this wall. And I guess they must have figured that the 4x6s are helping to strengthen up this wall. Couldn't they have just run a 2x6 where the 4x6 was in each one. Wouldn't that have still been strong enough? There's 2 top plates. It's a 2x6 wall, not a 2x4 wall. But for some reason, I guess the plans called for it, so that's what they did. And I thought that was kind of interesting. I also kind of thought it was interesting, this whole section right in here, all of these trusses, if you can look up there, there's a straight flat bit at the top. The truss doesn't go up any higher at both ends to make this taller there. I wonder why they did that, because the roof system right there is going to be a flat roof now. And so they're going to have to finish off that flat roof slightly different than a regular roof. Do you see what I mean? You see how those trusses going across there are flat at the top. Okay, they don't go up to a point. And I'm not quite sure why they did that. We're going to walk outside. Maybe you can get, maybe we can get you to see, well, maybe you can see it right here. You see how the truss goes up and then it's flat, flat, flat. And then this whole section from here to about there is flat, then it goes back down at an angle. Why do you suppose they would have done that? Because up at that roof up there is going to have to be hot mopped in because it's flat. And they're going to have to put a some drains up there for that flat deck of roof. I was thinking, well, maybe they did that. Maybe they're going to build something on top of that, like they can go out there like a sun deck or something like that. But I don't really think they're doing that. I don't see anything built, any stairs, anything like that. When you've got trusses, you can't like just go up inside where your trusses are and do work. Usually anything above this, the bottom of the trusses are these 2x4s, boom, 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 boom. So your ceiling, you can see in here, is going to be flat in this section, okay? And then when it comes out here, the ceiling is going to be a cathedral type ceiling. That's what I call a cathedral ceiling as it's going up and back down. That's called a scissor truss. Okay, remember I showed you the scissor trusses before in this back room. I was saying before they built it that they were probably going to make this ceiling a scissor truss ceiling, and these trusses in here look slightly different, and it's getting dark, but I think you can see it's going up at an angle and then back down. These trusses are slightly different than the trusses out here. I've never really seen trusses look exactly like these trusses, but hey, it's the same type of scissor type truss. And so that ceiling we know is cathedral ceiling. This ceiling here is going to be a nice cathedral ceiling. This 2x4 2x6 little wall with the 2x12 flat on there was just so that the guy could stand up there and help hold this together, help nail that together so that these stayed straight and all that. Okay, but we're gonna go outside. Let's go outside here. I'm gonna keep the camera rolling. It should be light enough out there, but dark enough so that we'll be able to see a little bit better. Okay. Going out here into the garage. We're gonna go back out here. Oh, nice breeze too. Okay, so see now it's dark enough, but it's light enough for me to still show you this the roof system. Okay, now see, this roof goes up and then it's flat. It's kind of hard to see at this point. You might think that's a point, and it goes back down, but no, that goes up and then it's flat and then it goes back down. And if you can see, these trusses were built kind of at a funky angle, huh? It goes down and then it comes out at a slower, lesser of an angle right there. That's all one truss. And why did they do that? I'm not quite sure. Whoever designed this had something in mind, and I'm sure it'll look all fine at the end. See this angle of the roof. Now see that he did the same thing over over at this, these trusses come down at, they're probably a 6 and 12 pitch there, and then it comes out to about a 4 and 12 pitch. Isn't that weird how they did that? All I can think of is maybe there was a height restriction on this property to where they could only go up so high. Now, this is on a corner lot. It's really not considered a view lot per se, but maybe for some reason they didn't want to go up any higher than that. Now, and here's something to consider, and this is what I wanted to bring up. If you're on a sloping roof or sloping lot, and let's say you have a viewed lot, let's say you got a nice view of your entire city lights, and you've got a neighbor up above you, and he's got a view of the city lights too, and then you're going to have a height restriction. Okay, but maybe because your floor area is so wide, you've got to have your trusses up there. Maybe that's why they designed it this way, and you can design your roof kind of like this with the trusses being flat on the top and then going back down at an angle. And maybe that, because you've got such a wide area and because you've got your roof is designed the way it's designed, you can't go up any higher. Now maybe you can do something like that to prevent your roof from going any higher and still have a truss roofing system that is going to be below your height restrictions, let's say. And you could do something like that. Okay? And they might have done something like that. All right? And maybe that's why they've designed it this way. I was kind of curious how they were going to build this entire roof system, because their flooring area is so wide and your garage is so deep here, and see, now you can't even see in here because my video camera is screwed up from getting about like that. If I had a brand new video camera, I would see perfectly in there because I can still see over there. And during the day, I can't see anything. So see, when it's about like this, the light is about like this, I'm okay running the video camera. Do you see what I mean? And so that's why I'm going to get a new video camera. That's why I come out here in the evenings about this time, because you can kind of see way better. I can see through my video camera, and it looks like I'm okay right now. And so that's why I come out here later. But anyways, we can see that they still got this entire little area needing to be done to install the trusses still. And I've been watching these guys from afar. I walked over here, walked around the block, and did some other walking around, about 2 hours today. And they were working out here diligently, framing away and getting these trusses up. So see, when they stand the trusses up, they have to brace them off. You can see how they've braced off this, and then they've ran the, once they get this first one, they get it plumb braced off here at the side, then they can install the next one, and all they have to do is take these 1x4s and just tack it up there. You know, however far the first one is, however far the next one and the next one and the next one are, they can just nail it. And that, believe it or not, will hold that thing nice and straight until they get their plywood up there, until they get the rest of their trusses up there, and all of that kind of stuff. And that's why they didn't run any blocks up at the top. And I'm very curious as to whether or not the inspector is going to allow them not to run a block at the very top. That block is an additional block that will hold those. It also gives you a little bit more nailing structure at the top for your plywood, because your plywood, when it's nailed, you should have nailing all the way along your top ridge. You shouldn't run your plywood along there and then have it only nailed at the top every 2 feet for your trusses, because I think that's more than 16 inches. But either way, I think those are 2-foot centers at there. And see that top, they've just got a 2x4 nailed at the top. They don't have any blocks on there. So when you put your plywood up there, you're only nailing your plywood every 2 feet up there. But if you had a block up there, you'd be nailing that plywood every 8 inches. You see what I'm saying? At your top. And then it also keeps your plywood from bowing down a little bit up at the top. I'm not sure if they're just going to come back later and put a block in there from underneath and then do it that way. It seems to me it would be easier to nail those blocks up there now. That's kind of how I've seen it done in the past. Mind you, I have not been around watching people frame up stuff for many years. Maybe they don't have to do that anymore. I don't know, but I'm thinking they might have to do that still. Okay, so hope you're enjoying these videos that I'm bringing to you, so that you can see all of the stuff involved with framing a house, installing the trusses. And remember when I said on these trusses, you cannot modify these trusses after the fact. Once they come out here, you're not supposed to cut them or do anything to modify them, because they've been all strategically designed and built as per whoever designed this. You would get a book with your set of plans. Trust me, that book would be all your schematics, on all your trusses. Every single different truss that was designed for your house will have all kinds of figures on there, so that the engineers will know exactly how you came up with how is this roof going to support itself? How is it going to hold the plywood? How is it going to hold your tiles, your roof tiles? Are your roof tiles going to be asphalt shingles? Are they going to be concrete type tiles? Are they going to be clay tiles? What are they going to be? How heavy are those tiles going to be? And how have you designed your roof to hold that entire load? And you'll have an entire book, like I said, a whole thing. It'll probably be, it might be 40 pages long, with all your specs and schematics for all of your trusses. That comes from your designer, from your engineer who's engineered all your roof trusses, and you're not about to start cutting any of your trusses for any reason whatsoever. Your bottom rail, your angled pieces, all of that is all strategically designed. Okay? Can't stress that enough. You don't just start cutting things and saying, oh yeah, I'll just cut that because I want to put a skylight in there. I'll just kind of cut the bottom and redo some stuff because I'm going to put a soffit in there. I'm going to put a light fixture exactly there. I'm going to start drilling some holes in it because I got some air conditioning duct work going in there and I need to notch that out just a little bit to get it in. Nope, sorry. You're not doing any of that. If you do, check it out. If you do, when the building inspector comes out here, if he sees anything's been modified to any of these trusses, he's going to shoot you down in a second, and he'll make you have to take that particular truss out that you cut, that you headed across because you're going to put a 4-foot wide skylight in there, and you've modified one of the trusses. And not happening, no way, not on that inspector's time. He'll shoot you down, and you won't be able to get a framing inspection until you make everything right. You may have to order another truss, and you may have to wait weeks to get the 2 trusses done because you installed two skylights up there. Now you're taking those skylights out and whatever. Okay, so remember that. I think I told you one other time. How many guys do they have out here framing up all the walls, building the roof system, installing the plywood, everything? They got 4 guys. That's it. And that's all you really need. You don't really need a big framing crew or something like that to build a house such as this. If you have 8 guys out here, yeah, it's going to take half as long probably, or a third shorter time. But remember, if you're a contractor, a framing contractor, or you want to be a framing contractor, you don't need any more than that, because the sooner you get this house done, the sooner it is that you've got to have the next job lined up for your guys. Hey, if your guys don't have enough work, they're going to start looking for other work somewhere else. So remember that. Well, day is dying in the west, and it's time for me to say goodbye. That's all I got for this time. Oh, see there? Look at that. Okay, there you go. That's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos, and hopefully you'll learn more every time you watch one of my videos on how to build a house.